The day after our wedding, my mother-in-law asked me if I was tired. I just sighed, but in her eyes, that sigh meant her son needed some fortification. Shen Yu and I got married, even though he didn't want to marry me. But so what? We were bound by a family marriage agreement. I was the unfavored daughter of the Mu family. My mother took her own life when I was 15. Not even a week after her funeral, my father brought that woman, Zhang Lan, home. With her came Mu Nanxi, my younger sister by 3 months. How absurd! And there was more absurdity to come. The second month after they moved in, my father, Mu Chengguo, sent me abroad. I didn't return until the day of my 22nd birthday. Despite being so unwanted, the Shen family marriage ultimately fell to me. Why? Probably because the old Mrs. Shen valued propriety and looked down on Mu Nanxing's background. No matter how hard Zhang Lan and Mu Nanxi tried to ingratiate themselves, in the end, old Mrs. Shen settled on my name. The wedding today was grand. So grand it even surprised me. Sitting in the wedding car, I watched a motorcade slowly enter the Shen family estate. My eyes were met by an entire sea of flowers, a vista of wisteria and orchids. It was like I owned a flower mirror, as if I were in Monet's secret garden, breathtakingly beautiful. So much so that I barely noticed how Shen Yu later carried me into the bridal chamber. After the ceremony, the makeup artist excitedly chattered in my ear. I heard they shipped in all the fresh roses and wisteria orchids in Zhang City for a whole week for this wedding. Xiazi, my bridesmaid, looked utterly unruffled, though the slight upturn of her lips betrayed her satisfaction. She carefully removed the tiara from my head. This tiara is something else too. I heard it's been passed down through the Shen family for generations. Hearing the makeup artist, Xiazi and I exchanged a smile. Being valued always feels nice. They went on about how romantic and dreamlike the wedding was. It was indeed lavish. I glanced down at the pigeon egg-sized diamond on my finger. Quite dazzling too. Who would have thought Shen Yu, cold and aloof since childhood, would have such a dreamy, almost girlishly dreamy wedding? How did he ever agree to it? That evening, sitting on the marital bed, I replayed the day's events. My father's face was stern, severe to the extreme. It didn't look like a father marrying off his daughter at all. I truly couldn't understand. How could the father who once loved and protected me stop loving me in an instant? I shifted my gaze to Zhang Lan. The anger on her face, the resentment and jealousy on Mu Nanxing's, I saw it all. Looking at Mu Nanxing's terror-reddened eyes. Tsk. How pitiful. The bathroom door suddenly opened. Shen Yu emerged, shirtless, a bathrobe tied around his waist, carrying with him the steam from the shower. The lines of his muscles were well defined. His hair was still damp, a few drops of water trailing down his neck. His pitch-black eyes fixed on me without blinking as he walked slowly closer. I swallowed hard. I'd been admiring Shen Yu's looks since the morning. He had those soulful peach blossom eyes, yet his expression was perpetually icy, aloof with a hint of aggression. Add the current view to that. He really had grown more handsome. No wonder Mu Nanxi had cried and made such a fuss about marrying him. He was simply too bewitching. Shen Yu toweled his hair. We stared at each other in silence for what felt like ages. Finally, I gave in, uttering the second sentence I'd spoken to him in 5 years. Which side do you sleep on? Shen Yu's hand, drying his hair, paused. He raised an eyebrow slightly. Catching this, I quickly added, if you're not comfortable, you can sleep in the study. Or I can go to the study. Shen Yu and I had known each other since childhood. Whenever I tried to get close to him or show him kindness back then, he'd always give me the cold shoulder. So arrogant. He probably never liked me. But in those days, I was the princess everyone doted on. Now, I quickly got up, sensibly grabbing my pillow to leave. My elbow was abruptly pulled back to his side. I looked up to see a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on his lips. Mu Nanxi, have you forgotten? Today is our wedding night. I took a step back, staring at him in disbelief. He looked at me with that half smile, his dark eyes unreadable. My heart began to pound uncontrollably. His clean, crisp scent filled my senses. I froze, feeling my cheeks heat up rapidly. I heard him give a low chuckle. He leaned in close, whispering by my ear. It tickled. I shrank my neck slightly. But his voice, thick and husky, a mix of amusement and coaxing, sounded in my ear. Darling, time for bed. The next day, we were supposed to see the Shen elders first thing in the morning. But Shen Yu and I both overslept. By the time we arrived, old Mrs. Shen was beaming, her smile practically reaching the back of her head. Shen Yu, with a dark look on his face, plopped directly into a chair. He could get away with that. I couldn't. Sorry we're late. Shen Yu pulled me down to sit beside him. Don't be daft. Nothing to apologize for. If it weren't for them, we could have slept longer. My face instantly flushed. What? What kind of thing was that to say? Shen Yu's father, Shen Kongshan, frowned. His mother, however, smiled faintly. Old Mrs. Shen was even more delighted. I said not to bother coming, but your father insisted, saying Nanxi hasn't eaten since yesterday. That's why we called you. Mr. Shen snorted lightly. Doesn't even know his own wife is hungry. Being a husband isn't as easy as you think. He then looked at me, his expression gentle. Nanxi, see if there's anything you'd like to eat. Seeing Shen Yu's expression darken further, I hurried to smooth things over. Thank you, Dad. Actually, I did eat something last night. When? The three across from us chorused. They were clearly fishing for details. Thinking of last night, my face reddened again. I lowered my head, stammering, well, around midnight. Shen Yu, sitting beside me, ladled a bowl of congee and placed it before me, then served me some dishes. After that, he casually picked up a napkin to wipe his hands. When he looked back at the three, his tone was thoroughly impatient. Why ask so many questions? If she says she ate, she ate. Thankfully, perhaps sensing Shen Yu's low mood, the three didn't press further. After the meal, I was pulled aside by Shen Yu's mother and grandmother. Nanxi, dear, I notice you and Xiao Yu didn't eat much. Was last night too tiring? How was I supposed to answer? Should I tell them last night wasn't tiring at all? Xiao Yu really has no sense of restraint. I'll have a word with him later. What? They were going to talk to Shen Yu about it. That would only add fuel to the fire. I quickly spoke up. No need, Mum. It really wasn't tiring, meeting their scrutinizing gazes. I nodded solemnly. I wasn't lying. It did hurt quite a bit, but I really wasn't tired. Actually, at first, I thought it would be exhausting. Shen Yu looked like he'd know what he was doing, but things don't always go as planned. Shen Yu, he finished rather abruptly. We were both a bit stunned. I wondered if I should comfort him. He pulled me close, insisting on another round. But then, my stomach growled. I was mortified. Shen Yu just stormed out with a dark face. When he came back, he was holding a bowl of noodles. After eating, I got sleepy. Shen Yu immediately tried to get close again, but I was simply too tired. I rolled over and fell straight asleep. I wondered if Shen Yu's foul mood this morning was because of last night. But how could I possibly comfort him about that? I sighed. But that sigh, in the eyes of the two women opposite, signified only one thing. Shen Yu was lacking. I'm lacking Shen Yu. His robust body exposed, gripped my chin with his large hand. His gaze was intense, his tone almost vicious. I don't know what his mother said to him, but Shen Yu's mood had soured since dinner. When the final bowl of tonic soup was served, Shen Yu's expression darkened to an almost frightening degree. His brows knitted, his eyes glaring. It was terrifying. I snapped back to reality, feeling inexplicably guilty. Meeting the furious man's eyes, my heart skipped a beat. I quickly shook my head. Yesterday was an accident. Shen Yu's face showed a hint of awkwardness. Oh, I didn't believe it for a second. Mu Nanxi, what's that look for? Are you cursing me in your heart? I'm not. I pursed my lips, putting on an innocent face. Shen Yu glared, his grip tightening. My chin started to hurt. I grew annoyed. Your problem. And you're taking it out on me? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Shen Yu, you're just embarrassed and taking it out on me. Besides, it's not like I'm looking down on you. Mu Nanxi. Shen Yu was so angry he laughed. He gave me a wicked grin, his voice husky, his warm breath mingling with mine. Mu Nanxi, you don't believe me, eh? He released my chin, placing his hands on either side of me, leaning down slowly. His eyes were deep like obsidian, tinged with a hint of red, captivating like poppies. I couldn't quite meet his gaze, so I let mine drift downward. Shen Yu's deeply defined collarbones were clearly visible now. The bright red bedsheet beneath made his skin look even fairer. Blast it! The man had a certain sex appeal. Noticing my distraction, he raised an eyebrow in displeasure, giving my lips a light kiss, then moving to my ear. He deliberately whispered softly by my ear. Darling, time for the acceptance check. The result of provocation was, face the storm. All right. I had underestimated Shen Yu. Rubbing my sore lower back, I slowly got into the car. Today was the day for my return visit to my parental home. I glanced sideways at Shen Yu. A growing sense of unfairness gnawed at me. Why did I feel like I'd pulled 2 all-nighters in a row? And look at him. He casually steered the wheel, his handsome face radiant, brimming with energy. A look of smug satisfaction evident in the curve of his eyes and brows. Fine, I was simply outmatched. At that moment, I was both sleepy and exhausted. The thought of dealing with Hamleter was irritating, so I simply closed my eyes and tried to nap. By the time we arrived at the Mu residence, the Mu family had been waiting. My father and Zhang Lan, usually so indifferent to me, were all smiles, fawning over Shen Yu with obsequious attention. And then there was Shen Yu, acting like he owned the place, looking down on everyone, yet holding my pink handbag. It was somewhat comical. Mu Nanxi stepped forward, putting on a pitiful face for Shen Yu. Brother Yu, it made me nearly retch my breakfast. I glanced at Shen Yu, wondering if the two of them had some history. The mere thought of Shen Yu having anything to do with Mu Nanxi sent a chill down my spine. It was utterly repulsive. I frowned slightly, eyeing Shen Yu. If you show the slightest bit of interest, Shen Yu, I'm kicking you to the curb. This marriage? It's over. Shen Yu's face was like thunder, his words even more merciless. Miss Mu really knows how to make one's skin crawl. Coming to disgust me first thing in the morning. Shen Yu blinked his dewy eyes at me, looking as docile as could be. What an act! He held my hand, gently kneading it. Darling, do we really have to stay for this meal? I'm already quite full. Typical Shen Yu. His tongue as sharp as ever. The expressions on the three faces opposite us were rather ugly, especially Mu Nanxi's, which had turned a purplish hue. Zhang Lan stepped forward to smooth things over. Zhao Yu, Nanxi is visiting her family today. How can we not have a meal together? Shen Yu suddenly laughed, as if he'd heard the world's greatest joke. If you hadn't mentioned this was Nanxi's return visit, I'd have thought this was my maternal home. The three opposite us petrified once more. I shot Shen Yu an appreciative glance. I knew he was protecting me, but I no longer needed this so-called family affection. Watching Shen Yu intently playing with my fingers, I suddenly found him rather endearing. As satisfying as it was to hear him verbally spar, I still had business to attend to. I patted his mischievous hand. Let's eat before we leave. Then I turned to my father. Dad, I need to talk to you. On the way back, I couldn't help but laugh thinking about Mu Nanxing's defeated expression earlier. Seeing Zhang Lan's speechless look added to my satisfaction. All those years ago, I was supposedly sent abroad for studies, but I knew the truth. I'd been abandoned by my father. I looked at the property deed in my hand and smiled contentedly. If not for this house. This was a house my mother designed herself, the only thing she left behind in this world. Finally, I got it back. I looked gratefully at Shen Yu. It was all thanks to him earlier. Mu Nanxi, could you not look at me with such a soppy expression? Shen Yu was still Shen Yu, as infuriating as ever. Still, thank you for earlier. The corner of his mouth lifted. He waved the household register booklet in his hand. No need for formalities. Earlier, I had wanted to speak to my father privately in his study, but Zhang Lan objected. She said the Shen family wouldn't like a place for me to live. I was speechless. However much the Shen family had, it had nothing to do with me. What's mine is mine. You, Zhang Lan, have no right to touch it. Before my father could say anything, Shen Yu spoke up first. It's something from my mother-in-law. Of course we should take it. I saw my father's mustache practically twitch with anger then. Shen Yu hadn't once called him dad since arriving. My father, such a domineering man, would have normally lost his temper. But today, likely due to Shen Yu's status, I smoothly followed my father to retrieve the property deed. Just then, Shen Yu made a grand gesture and added another line. Don't forget the household register booklet either. And then, in the distance, I saw the gates of the Civil Affairs Bureau beckoning to me. That's right. Shen Yu and I hadn't officially registered our marriage yet. Actually, that childhood betrothal was something both families had stopped mentioning once we grew older. So, why did Shen Yu agree to marry me? And why did my father even threaten me with the house to make me return for this marriage? I was convinced Shen Yu must have had some compelling reason to marry me, and my father must have gained some advantage from it. Shen Yu, do we really have to register? Actually, it's fine if we don't. We can stay as we are. It'll be less messy when we separate later. Don't worry. I won't ask for your money. Shen Yu slammed on the brakes. I nearly hit my forehead on the dashboard. Looking up, I met his stormy expression. Mu Nanxi, what do you take me for? I, Shen Yu, am not some irresponsible scoundrel. I don't need you to be responsible. I blinked earnestly. Edo, I'm yours now. What? You don't want to take responsibility. I guarantee, if I said I don't at that moment, the consequences would have been dire. So I chose silence. Mu Nanxi, I never took you for someone so irresponsible. Went abroad and learned how to play the heartbreaker game, did you? Thinking of casting me aside after having your way with me? Mu Nanxi, don't even dream of it. You need to listen to what you're saying. Shen Yu, it's not what you think. I know you don't like me. I just want to thank you. And I don't want to cause you trouble. Shen Yu frowned slightly, staring at me. A moment later, what kind of rubbish way to show thanks is this? He straightened up, the anger in his eyes vanishing instantly. He tapped the household register booklet against his palm, his tone casual. Besides, I wasn't doing it entirely for you today. He paused, turning to look at me, a smile tugging at his lips. If you really want to thank me, how about something more practical? With that, he pulled me into the Civil Affairs Bureau. Coming out of the bureau, Shen Yu was like a big fox with its tail held high, his eyes gleaming with triumph, looking utterly pleased with himself. I was more and more convinced this wasn't the Shen Yu I knew. That cold, aloof boy from childhood now seemed to have retained only the arrogance. He took out his phone, taking picture after picture of the marriage certificates, then snapped one of me. What are you doing? Posting on Moments. He then looked at me as if seeking praise. I was speechless. Did you even use a beauty filter? I ignored him, opened the car door, and got in. Shen Yu followed. As the car started, Shen Yu leaned over again. Hey, hold on. Mu Nanxi, why aren't you posting on Moments? I'm detecting a serious attitude problem towards marriage here. He stared at me intently, a hint of threat in his eyes, slowly leaning closer, my back pressed against the car door. I tried to straighten my arms to create some distance between us. Shen Yu, calm down. I'll post it. I'll post it right now. Mine. Accompanying it was a photo of me looking at the camera. A bit silly. The moment I opened my social media feed, the first thing I saw was Shen Yu's post. An indescribable feeling washed over me, a warmth spreading in my chest. Did you post it? Shen Yu asked while driving. My fingers froze. I instinctively looked up at him, and he happened to glance over. The sudden eye contact made my heart leap into my throat. Right away, I took out my phone, snapped a picture of Shen Yu driving. Shen Yu glanced at me, his lips curling upwards. I felt a bit disgruntled. Why did he have to be so photogenic? My fingers hovered hesitantly. I didn't know what to write. Thinking of Shen Yu's smiling face, I hardened my heart and quickly typed 2 words. I threw my phone aside immediately after posting, as if it were a hot potato. Shen Yu asked me what I'd posted. How could I possibly say it out loud? I turned away in embarrassment, pretending to look out the window, silent. Seeing this, Shen Yu reached for his phone. I quickly pressed my hand over his. He kept his eyes on the road, a smirk playing on his lips. Why so nervous? My expression was slightly awkward. Nothing worth seeing. Just similar to yours. My voice grew softer towards the end. Seeing he still looked confused, I pursed my lips and reminded him. Keep your eyes on the road. Shen Yu was stunned for a second, then tilted his head and chuckled softly. As you wish. His voice was thick, saturated with an undeniable tenderness. Whether it was the mesmerizing tone or the flirtatious content, I couldn't tell, but I felt a tiny tremor in my heart. How deadly! Noticing the scenery outside was different from the route we took earlier, I was puzzled. Where are we going? Home. Back to our own home. Since we moved to Jiayu Mansion, I truly understood what newlyweds meant. So clingy, and so taxing on the lower back. Sometimes we'd curl up on the sofa watching a movie or our phones, and Shen Yu's hands were never idle. He'd pinch my cheeks, tweak my ears, or play with my fingers. He'd even lean over now and then to steal a kiss, and then the kissing would escalate. I digress. Sometimes I couldn't help but ask Shen Yu, didn't you used to dislike me? How can you be so affectionate if you didn't like me? Whenever I asked, Shen Yu would give me a deeply complicated look. Sometimes when I was busy with something and hadn't paid attention to him for over 15 minutes, I'd hear, "Darling, what are you doing? Darling, do you want some watermelon? Look, I cut it. Darling, does your husband need to help with anything? Darling, have you forgotten about me?" And so on. Each time I was on the verge of losing my temper, Shen Yu would look at me with such expectant eyes. Is he quite all right? Doesn't Shen Yu have work? Or studies? I'm still a student myself. I'd initially thought once things here settled, I'd go back to continue my studies. Glancing at Shen Yu bustling about in the kitchen. It seems that's unlikely now. Today, A charity gala was being held in Zhang City. The Shen family was among the invited guests. Dressed in a strapless gown, I sat before the mirror, trying to decide which necklace to wear. Shen Yu walked over then. He leaned down slightly, one hand braced on the dressing table, effectively caging me in. He bent closer, tucking a stray strand of hair behind my ear. My wife is truly beautiful. Then he leaned in closer still, his breath fanning over my ear. The atmosphere began to heat up. I closed my eyes, struggling to speak. Shen Yu, don't. Just as I felt my earlobe was about to surrender, a sudden coolness touched my neck. My eyes flew open. A beautiful ruby necklace now rested against my skin. Wear this one. In the mirror, my complexion was fair and glowing, my cheeks flushed, my eyes shimmering with a suggestive sheen, and seeing the faint, triumphant gleam in Shen Yu's beautiful eyes, I instantly sobered up. Blast it. Now my face was even redder. Shen Yu wrapped his arms around me, chuckling softly. Darling, you look like this. It really gives me a sense of accomplishment. I wanted to swear, but I held back. I widened my eyes, glaring at him fiercely. Shen Yu looked at me thoughtfully, a somewhat helpless smile on his lips. He pulled me into an embrace, his voice gentle. No hurry. I was taken aback for a moment, saying nothing. Yet a warm current surged in my heart, an itch right at the very core. That evening, when we arrived at the venue, Shen Yu, usually so detached, suddenly seemed charged with competitive spirit, his gaze fixed intently on one direction. I followed his gaze and spotted Jin Rui, a senior I'd met while studying abroad. We weren't close, but he was a nice guy. Jin Rui was also taken aback when he saw me, then smiled and walked over. Nanxi, long time no see. I didn't know you were back in the country. Long time no see, senior. Jin Rui glanced at Shen Yu and spoke politely. It's you. Shen Yu merely gave him a cursory look. I was a bit surprised. You two know each other? Before Jin Rui could answer, Shen Yu spoke first. No, Shen Yu, it would have been better if you'd said nothing. I gave senior an apologetic look. Jin Rui smiled faintly. We've just seen each other a few times. Can't really say we're acquainted. Seen each other. I was curious, but Shen Yu seemed impatient. Let's go. I wanted to ask more, but noticing how the man beside me had narrowed his beautiful peach blossom eyes, from which glints of annoyance occasionally flashed, I obediently apologized to senior. Before leaving, senior asked for my WeChat. From the moment the gala began, Shen Yu didn't utter another word. I sensed something was off. I fetched a small cake from the nearby dessert table and tested the waters. Shen Yu, I can't finish this. He snorted disdainfully, took the cake, and bit into it, chewing vigorously as if he had a personal vendetta against it. Shen, Mr. High and Mighty, was angry. This was the first time he'd lost his temper since we married. After we got home from the gala, I was sitting on the sofa drinking water when I saw Shen Yu standing opposite me, like a human-shaped cardboard cutout. Hands in his pockets, he stared coldly at me, exactly like a grown wolf eyeing its unruly prey. Shen Yu, are you angry? No, so stubborn. Just then, my phone pinged. Before I could unlock it, Shen Yu's voice cut through. Don't add him. Watching Shen Yu's gradually chilling expression and his face flushed with anger, I inexplicably found him rather endearing. I curved my lips into a smile and handed him my phone to see. It's Mom. She wants us to go back some other day. Shen Yu froze but didn't respond. Thinking it was time, I took his hand, swaying it while acting coquettishly. I'm not that close with Senior Jin Rui. All right. I won't add him. Don't be angry. Sure enough, Shen Yu's expression visibly softened. He gave a haughty hey-amph and sat down beside me. Was he waiting for me to continue? So I planted a kiss on his cheek. Shen Yu looked at me meaningfully. Then he scooped me up, sitting me sideways on his lap. I gasped, eyes wide, staring at him. He, however, leaned back comfortably into the sofa, his palm resting against my waist, slowly caressing. I'm angry. Come soothe me. Soothe Shen Yu. From memory, Shen Yu was quite easy to soothe. I reached over, opened my clutch, and placed a pineapple sweet in Shen Yu's palm. When we were kids, every time he got angry and pulled a long face, I'd give him one. He loved them. I blinked at him. He raised an eyebrow, his beautiful eyes narrowing slightly. He chuckled softly. Darling, I'm not a child anymore. Then he sighed, popping the sweet into his mouth. His eyes seemed to hold a light, a smile playing on his lips. He said, Grown-ups aren't soothed that way. Open your mouth. Let me teach you. After being together for a while, I realized Shen Yu was actually very busy, especially recently. He'd sit at the computer for hours on end. At first, I thought he was gaming, but leaning over, I saw it was all in English. I couldn't help raising an eyebrow. Shen Yu hated studying. Seeing Shen Yu not in his usual tsundere mode, but replaced by a focused, work-minded caution, sometimes pondering, sometimes frowning, made him seem more mature and steady. He had changed a lot over the years. This weekend, Shen Yu and I returned to the estate. My father and mother-in-law weren't there. Only Grandma and Auntie Jiang were in the flower garden. Shen Yu and I called out in unison, "Grandma." Seeing us, Grandma's eyes crinkled into smiles. "You're here! Perfect! Auntie Jiang needs to go back to the kitchen. Zhao Yu, you finish pruning the rest. I'll help too." "No need. He can manage alone. You keep this old lady company for a chat." I looked at Shen Yu. Sure enough, he was already skillfully rolling up his sleeves, crouching down to trim the branches. After chatting with Grandma for a bit, she said she wanted to go back inside. Watching Shen Yu's busy figure from behind, my good-heartedness kicked in, and I went over to help. Shen Yu tried to dissuade me, saying I'd definitely prick my fingers, but I insisted, wanting to experience being a little gardener. I thought it would be a relaxing, romantic experience. Who would have thought? Looking out, it was endless weeds to pull and spent flowers to trim. It left me aching all over. Actually, this workload wasn't much. I guess I'd been pampered. In the end, Shen Yu finished the job. By lunchtime, I just wanted to lie down and rest. I was even thinking, maybe I'll get a massage on the way back. Who knew Grandma would say my in-laws might be back in the afternoon and wanted us to stay the night? The massage plan went up in smoke. I lay on the bed in the room. Shen Yu had just finished showering and emerged from the bathroom. Ever since I took the initiative to soothe Shen Yu last time, Shen Yu seemed to have discovered a new world. Seizing the moment, I went over and hugged him. My voice was soft. "Shen Yu, let's play something different today, all right?" Shen Yu raised an eyebrow, pulling me closer by the waist. "Darling, it's broad daylight. Is that appropriate?" His words were those of a proper gentleman, but the gleam in his eyes nearly gave him away. Remembering my failed massage plan, I hooked my lips, leaned close to his ear, and whispered a few words. Lifting my head, I looked at him expectantly. "What do you think?" Seeing Shen Yu's Adam's apple bub uncontrollably, a satisfied smile spread across my lips. "Sensible?" I smiled contentedly at the suddenly energetic Shen Yu beside me, then obediently lay down as he directed. Shen Yu smiled with a roguish charm, nodding his head like a rattledrum, telling me to relax. In the end, under eager Monsieur Shen's diligent massage, I quickly fell asleep. When I woke up, it was already dusk. I turned my head and saw Shen Yu sitting by the bedside, glaring at me, puffing with anger. Full of grievance, he said, "Mu Nanxi, you big liar." Huh? Why was he angry again? Ha ha ha. Can you blame him for being angry? Shen Yu had the fat meat right there, and it fell asleep. I immediately covered Xiaozi's mouth. "Shh, keep your voice down. Can't blame Shen Yu for being angry. If I'd even lit the aromatherapy candles and Lu Ren just fell asleep next to me, I'd suspect he had someone else." Xiaozi stifled a laugh. "You're practically playing with his feelings." I puffed out my cheeks. "It's clearly him overthinking things. All right. Lu Ren said he and Shen Yu are here. Let's go in." I felt unsure. Shen Yu didn't tell me. He must still be angry. I better not go in. Xiaozi scoffed. Maybe he purposely asked Lu Ren to tell me. When Xiaozi and I approached, Shen Yu was leaning on the sofa drinking. Solemn, he looked utterly cold. He glanced at me and immediately looked away. "Why is Monsieur Shen drinking alone? Come on, here's a little sister for you." With that, Xiaozi pushed me right into Shen Yu's lap. Shen Yu caught me. When he registered Xiaozi's words, his eyebrows knitted together. He glared at me ferociously. I covered my face, not daring to look at him. "Xiaozi, you really know how to stir the pot." She enjoyed watching the show, but I was left bearing Shen Yu's devouring glare. Thankfully, Xiaozi didn't continue, and Shen Yu just let out an indistinct snort. I was wearing a spaghetti strap dress tonight, and my seat was right under the air conditioning vent. Feeling cold, I shifted closer to Shen Yu. Shen Yu frowned, shot me a sidelong glance, then looked away. So petty. I pursed my lips but ultimately said nothing. A warmth fell on my shoulders, enveloping me. Shen Yu had draped his jacket over me. I looked at him. He said nothing, just let out another sullen snort. Petty and childish. I smiled, also rather cute. Shen Yu and Lu Ran were discussing something. Xie and I went to the restroom. On our way back, we happened to see Mu Nanxi. The last time we met was during my return visit, which had left her utterly furious. I thought Mu Nanxi would come over to taunt me, just like when I was sent abroad, mocking my wishful thinking. But she just looked at me and turned to leave. Changed her nature? She knows what's good for her. Xie snorted coldly. I looked at Xie, puzzled. Xie patted my shoulder. Even though young Master Shen has a temper, you have to admit he's protective of his own. Protective? Shen Yu was quite protective of me. Before we reached our seats, we heard Lu Ran's voice. Mate, I really admire you. How many trips did you make just to see her in a year? Xie and I did 2 years long distance, and that was torture enough. You two, on the other hand, 7 years? Who was he talking about? I hadn't been in a long-distance relationship with Shen Yu. I looked at Shen Yu with a face full of question marks. Shen Yu, twirling his glass, swept a glance at me and said nonchalantly, "He's drunk." But my heart felt stuffed with cotton, uncomfortably blocked. Shen Yu didn't speak to me all the way home. My mood was gloomy, and I didn't feel like talking either. Before bed, Shen Yu drew an imaginary line on the bed. Glaring at me with a stern, cold look, he enunciated each word clearly. Do not cross the line. His words were forceful, extremely unreasonable, leaving no room for argument. I looked at him silently. Fine. I didn't feel like holding him while sleeping tonight anyway. Ignoring him, I picked up the nightdress Xie gave me today and headed for the bathroom. When I emerged, Shen Yu's eyes nearly fell out. I wore a spaghetti strap dress that ended just above my thighs. I deliberately walked to the dressing table, leaned forward slightly towards the mirror, and slowly applied my skincare. Just as I slipped into bed, he snuggled close. His short hair tickled my chin. His warm breath began to wander. Pah! Stinky man! Didn't you say no crossing the line? I said you mustn't cross the line, not me. Outside, the moonlight was dense. It was a time for tender affection. At a critical moment, I pushed Shen Yu away. Shen Yu, I want some water. Be good. Have some later. I quickly grabbed his mischievous hand, lifted my face, lashes slightly lowered, corners of my eyes stinged red, looking at him pitifully for help. I want it now. Shen Yu took a deep breath and got out of bed. Watching him get up to pour water smoothly, I immediately shut and locked the door in one fluid motion. Listening to the persistent knocking outside, starting with gentle, soft words, turning to cold threats, and finally to frustrated fury, I simply said calmly, Shen Yu, you're sleeping in the study tonight. The knocking stopped. I thought Shen Yu had probably given up. Just as drowsiness set in and I was about to fall asleep, the door lock made a click sound and opened. I immediately sat bolt upright in bed. Shen Yu casually tossed the door key onto the floor and walked slowly towards me, eyes half lowered, a smile curling his lips. Tricking me again? His deep voice rang out, surprisingly gentle. The more he was like this, the more I felt I was done for. When I woke up the next day, it was already noon. Shen Yu wasn't beside me. I called out, "Great!" My throat was completely hoarse. Suddenly remembering that last night, in my hazy state, I'd heard Shen Yu say he had a business trip today. I silently lay back down. In the evening, Xie asked me how it went. With that battle attire, even a monk could be conquered. Heh! The monk went on a business trip, but the demoness was falling apart. Xie laughed herself silly, urging me to go out that night. The moment Xie and I stepped into the bar, we bumped right into Mu Nanxi, a man by her side. Shedding her usual hypocrisy, her face showed undisguised disgust. What rotten luck! Ran into a jinx. Mu Nanxi, watch your mouth. Did I say anything wrong? Mu Nanxi, if it weren't for you, Shen Yu wouldn't keep targeting the Mu Corporation. Do you know how difficult things are for the company now? Dad has been so busy he hasn't come home for a week. I found it ridiculous. Mu Nanxi, has your brain been slammed in a door? What does the Mu family have to do with me? Mu Nanxi was speechless with anger. Xie rolled up her sleeves and started cursing. Mu Nanxi, if your mouth is idle, go lick a toilet. Don't stand here blathering. You what you? I think you're just jealous of Nanxi. I heard you offered yourself to Shen Yu and got thrown out. So embarrassing. If I were you, I'd have buried myself on the spot. Saved myself the humiliation now. I stood there, listening in a daze. Mu Nanxi offered herself. Got thrown out? That definitely sounded like something Shen Yu would do. Mu Nanxing's face changed colors. The men beside her, hearing this, turned and walked away. Mu Nanxing stamped her foot in fury, grinding her teeth at me. Mu Nanxi, don't get cocky. You think Shen Yu likes you so much? He's just after novelty. Once that wears off, you'll be waiting to be kicked out. I smiled faintly. Don't be angry. Maybe once I'm gone, you'll have your chance then. Watching Mu Nanxing's frustrated appearance, the memory of how I looked before being sent away years ago instantly surfaced. 15-year-old me, from harsh words to later pleading softly no matter how I begged my father, in the end, he still made me leave. So that's how I looked back then. Watching Mu Nanxing's retreating figure, Xiaozi exclaimed with satisfaction, but I felt nothing. I took a light sip of my drink. Xiaozi looked at me and said quietly, "It was also yesterday, when Lu Ren got drunk, that I found out Shen Yu really messed with your dad." Good for him, I say. Serves him right. Who told him to ignore your well-being back then? Even making you figure out your own living expenses? I smiled indifferently. 7 years of neglect. I had long lost any feelings for this father of mine. But Nanxi, you're really not a good friend. You and Shen Yu were together long ago. Why didn't you tell me? Could have shared your long-distance relationship secrets. I wasn't in a long-distance relationship with Shen Yu. Impossible. Lu Ren said Shen Yu went to find you in the US whenever he had time, every year without fail. Memories of the past surged back. I remember during my first year abroad, I did see Shen Yu. He was sitting in a luxury car, while I had just gotten off work in oil-stained work clothes. The moment he looked up, I immediately hid, pulling my thoughts back, and thinking of Senior Jin Rui's words recently. Now it was my turn to be stunned. How could this be? Lu Ren said Shen Yu used to hate studying, but later he worked incredibly hard. His dad set him a goal. Once he achieved it, he wouldn't interfere with anything he did. Seeing my utterly confused expression, Xiaozi exclaimed, "I've really seen it all now. Shen Yu is a romantic at heart. He had a crush on you for 7 years. Amazing." My phone vibrated softly. A message from Shen Yu, asking if I'd eaten. I stared quietly at the phone, 100 emotions and conflicting feelings surging in my chest. A sour-sweet astringent mix filled my heart, warmly rushing through my veins. Have you eaten? Not yet. Oh. Shen Yu sent 3 question marks in a row. Something's off with you. Not at all. Darling, you wouldn't be missing me, would you? I held the phone for a long time. I pressed send. Shen Yu, I really do miss you a little. No reply came for a while. I stared at the phone. Suddenly, a new message popped up. Husband, looking at flight tickets. I'd had a bit to drink tonight. Xiaozi, unconvinced I was fine, stayed with me. Later, I think Lu Ren showed up too. By the time Shen Yu arrived, it was past midnight. I was dizzy all over, but I still recognized him instantly. My husband was here. I stumbled towards him in a trot, slurring as I called, "Husband." I buried my face in his chest, nuzzling relentlessly. I couldn't see his expression, but I heard his thumping heartbeat and a helpless long sigh. He exchanged a few words with Lu Ren, then took me home. When he tried to stuff me into the car, I whined and grumbled unwillingly. "I'm not drunk." Really? I know very clearly what I'm doing. But I couldn't help wanting to go a little crazy. I pointed at Shen Yu and asked him everything I wanted to know. "Shen Yu, those past 7 years, who were you visiting in the US?" He took my hand, placed it in his palm, and squeezed it. "You." Mu Nanxi. I heard my own heartbeat, like the most ferocious drumbeat I'd ever heard, dense and powerful, so real. "Why didn't you tell me?" He looked down at me, an unknown light flickering in his dark eyes. "I was afraid you wouldn't want to see me." My nose tingled sorely. Tears welled up instantly. I don't cry easily, really. I hadn't cried in a long time. Maybe under alcohol's influence, I clung to Shen Yu and started wailing, sobbing uncontrollably, unable to form coherent sentences. "Wouldn't. Actually, that time I saw you. I had just gotten off work then, wearing my work clothes, even had leftovers packed for dinner. I saw you. You were sitting in the car. I was afraid you'd see me like that." Tears still streaked my face, hiccuping with sobs. "You never liked me since we were kids. I was scared of seeing disdain, disappointment, disgust in your eyes. Shen Yu, I was scared, so I hid right away." I sobbed uncontrollably. Shen Yu flustered, comforted me softly. "Silly thing. Don't cry. When did I ever say I didn't like you? I'm sorry, please don't cry. It's my fault." I buried my face in his chest, listening to his incoherent explanation. Hugh is the silly one. He gently patted my back, soothing me tenderly. Finally, he added cautiously, "Darling, you got snot on my shirt." He cupped my face, wiping away my tears and snot. I was resistant, but the wailing had drained all my energy. I closed my eyes, hazily wanting to sleep. I vaguely felt dense kisses falling on my eyelids, forehead, cheeks, lips, and his low alcohol voice. "Silly thing. Can't even see such obvious affection from me. Silly."